Good morning, guys. It's a beautiful day, beautiful weather, and two beautiful sports cars over here. And I'm really excited today because I will get to try out the Lotus Emira. I've been dying to try this car from Lotus, and it's because, and I think this is also a very important car for Lotus, because I've always liked Lotuses, I respect them, but I never really have an urge to say I want to own one because they're always so intimidating. But by the looks of this car, I think it promises a more approachable sports car, a dailyable sports car, and does have quite an impressive look, right? So I'm going to compare it to my Porsche Boxer Spyder. I know the different timelines, right? Because there's 2015, 2020, 2021. They're very different eras, but in my opinion, this is my favorite sports car and one of the best sports car that Porsche makes. And how does it match up to Lotus, which is the god of suspension building? Okay, so I'm going to discuss some facts that kind of surprised me actually. I looked up the weight of the Emira. It's actually quite heavy. It's actually 1400 kilograms, so 1405 I believe. And my Spyder is 1315. Strange, because normally Lotus would be associated with lighter weight. This is actually lighter, but I guess it all comes down to the driving. Suspension, struts all around here, double wishbones all around. Okay, so it should promise a better ride and something more playful than the Boxster. I'm not sure about superchargers. I'm not a big fan of it. We'll see how it sounds as we get into the drive. Okay, so I think the question I want to ask is that, is this car good enough for me to jump over from the Porsche wagon into the Lotus wagon? So I'm going to do this video in a one take. It's a vlog style. It's going to be kind of raw, so there's not a lot of editing. Stay tight with me and let's go for a drive together.
Before the video starts, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Xpel Malaysia. Now, many may know them for some of the best paint protection films out in the market, but they also produce excellent window tints. It not only has superior heat rejection, but it has amazing clarity. I've used both Prime XR Plus and Prime XP, and I have never been more satisfied. Do check out the website for more information on the products and network of distributors throughout Malaysia. With that, please enjoy the rest of the video.
Okay, we're heading down right now. Bobby's in my Porsche Boxer Spyder, and let's explore this car together. Right? First and foremost, I love the interior. It's so refined. Immediately already, I love this so much more than the older Lotuses. This is something far more acceptable for me, not so intimidating. Gear knob. I like that they brought this forward. Everything else, it kind of looks out of place because it feels like everything else is like nice and refined. Then you got this big, like, racy kind of gear knob, and it does feel racy as well. It's very notchy, right? Even more notchy than my Boxster. It's like clack, clack, clack. I like it because you know which gear you're in all the time. Okay. Brakes, very, very nice. Responsive. You can feel the pressure. Yeah. Yeah, I always wanted to drive this car because, you know, it should be the Lotus that I dare to own, right? Okay. You know what? The other thing that I just noticed, it was so good that I didn't even notice it. Actually, the heel and toe position is so good. The ergonomics is fantastic. You can get a sense that people who built this car are real drivers. Just like that. Oh, so easy. I'm barely spending more than 2 minutes in this car, and heel and toe felt effortless. It's just like my car. Yeah, fantastic. It is very enticing, this car. Very, very enticing. As much as I love my Boxster, this car is very, very enticing. The front lip is not too low, so you can get through a lot of bumps without much worry. Yeah. Okay. Get into a bit more of a twisty part. With regards to the engine, funny, it says 400 horsepower, but for some reason the sensation doesn't feel like 400 horsepower. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. I think that it gives you permission to put your foot down without getting all too scared. Some cars are just too powerful and you just get super intimidated by the power. This one, nah. Pretty darn acceptable in terms of its power. But I would rather think that the normal Lotuses, the lightweight ones, would probably feel more urgent because the car will be lighter. This car feels, you know, again, it's 1400 kilograms. So all that, I think this engine suits more for the lighter Lotuses. Yeah. And I got a feeling that maybe the 2.0 AMG Source engine will be more suitable for this car. Yeah. I just got a feeling. But I guess most people who get Lotuses will probably get the Lotus with the 3.5 V6 because it's signature Lotus, right? And plus being the last NA Lotus. Yeah. That's a novelty there. But I can't really get over the whine, the supercharger whine. I don't know, guys. I just can't. I can't get over the supercharger noise. But right off the bat, in terms of ride comfort, it's very acceptable. It's easily dailyable. More so pliant than my Spyder, actually. Yeah. Oh, I'm starting to feel the suspension. This is one thing that triumphs over that Porsche, is the suspension. 4 double wishbones all around, and playing with a slightly softer damper settings, I think is perfect. And I have a feeling, a suspicion, as we push it later a little bit more, we're probably going to feel more of that in play. I'm getting a sense that the car has a nice ebb and flow, which is very engaging, right? There's an ebb and flow to it. Like it goes forward and back, and you can really use that roll to rotate that car. It's so beautiful. It's one of the things why I love the Alpine A110, is that it has that sort of playfulness, which the Porsche sort of lacks. But for what the Porsche lacks in that sense, it makes up with all the engine noise. Yeah. All right, like this, let go, and it just tucks right in. Really, really nice. Very well judged suspension. Bravo, Lotus. And I got a suspicion that I'm going to have so much more fun as the roads open up. Woohoo! So let's come back to the engine. I think it's a bit underwhelming. Yeah, that's the word for it. Whoa, that guy is really aggressive. Yeah, a bit underwhelming for me. Yeah, I would have preferred the engine to be a bit more dramatic. Yeah, for a sports car. Okay, since we are now in traffic, let's rant about something. The steering does not work for me. Steering wheel, it's supposed to be a wheel, round, but this weird shape, I don't know, just don't do for me. I get it, because you're trying to make space so that you can see the tachometer and speedometer. I don't know, it just feels odd when I'm doing like the maneuvers and I'm trying to grab here. It's like, oh, hold on a minute, why is it so low? Alright? Yeah, I don't like that. But ergonomically wise, the color scheme, the softness of the color is very minimalist, so you're more focused onto the road. Okay? So I'm reaching the more fun part of this road as it opens up. Let's see how it goes. But overall, I'm very happy with this car. Yeah. Let's see after those twisty roads, does it entice me to go into the Lotus more than the Porsche end of the spectrum. Oh, by the way, seats, very nice. I think it's the comfort seat or the sport seat, not the bucket seats. Can definitely imagine myself going long distance with this. No issue at all. Alright, let's have some fun right now. It takes the undulations really well, bumps, doesn't unsettle the car, right? You can feel a lot of the feedback, but it's never jarring. It's rather nice to see my Porsche right in front of me as I'm comparing my car to that car. Normally I have only one car. Gear ratios are very good as well. Yeah, suited for spirited driving. Oh, that lovely tuck in. That's beautiful. That tuck, oh, nice. Woohoo! I love that flow. Release the throttle, tuck in, throttle out. So playful. This car is a lot more playful than your average Porsches. That is for sure. Yeah. Engine for what it lacks up, the chassis. You can really push it. I love it. The only thing that bugs me is the engine noise. No drama, just, yeah. And the feeling is like the engine is decoupled from the car. It's like there's an engine and there's a chassis. Yeah, I think that's what's missing as well for me. But the lean, oh my gosh, I love how the Lotus leans into the corner. It's just so graceful.
So at this point, my audio jack decided to disconnect itself from that exuberant drive. So I'm left with a video without any audio. So please excuse me as I summarize the Lotus Emira with a video without audio, with my audio in the studio, okay? Now let's start with the chassis, the ride and handling. I'm gonna say that it is excellent, it is world class. I never driven much Lotuses in my life, but as compared to some of the sports cars I've driven, this, I mean, it is really, really just world class. First of all, the chassis, you can feel that it's really, really stiff. With the aluminium monocoque, as you know, that's Lotus's formula, and that gives you that all-round stiffness. But they pair it up with these 4 double wishbones all around, and with a more softer and pliant setting of the suspension. So it rolls and it leans, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I think this is what makes the car so freaking amazing, right? Lift off a bit, the front ducts in, throttle a bit, the car sits on the rear. Just right now, it's right here. Look at that, it's just able to just keep leaning and leaning into the car's grip. And I'm kind of afraid to actually find the car's limit on public roads, and I believe that would be something to experience on track. But I get the sense how high the limit is for the Lotus Emira. Yeah. And if I'm going to try to compare it in any experiences that I have, now I'm not a super seasoned car enthusiast. I know people who have driven, all sorts of supercars, performance cars, cup cars, whatever. In my experience, what I will closely relate this experience with is like a McLaren, right? Very stiff body, but a bit more pliancy on the suspension that really lets you, feel with assurance how much weight is on the left or right axle or the rear axle. It's really, really clear, and that gives you a lot of confidence to keep pushing and pushing and pushing the car. And I've got very limited experience with Lotuses. My previous experiences is that they are very intimidating. Like you're just so afraid of the car biting it back at you.
but with the Emira, I really didn't feel that at all. And I think with the tuning of the engine, it sort of helped tapers off that torque, so you can really just enjoy it comfortably without worrying the car's going to eat you alive or throw you into a wall or something like that. So yeah, and with the hydraulic steering guys, Lotus remembers what's important for drivers, pairing that chassis setup, the suspension setup with a very accurate hydraulic steering. I mean, it's if there's one area of this car that is excellent without any question, it's this: the ride, the handling, the chassis, the steering. Hats off. Ergonomics, as I mentioned before in the video, also fantastic, very easy to adjust, very easy to get in and just drive. But now it comes to the big but. The but for me is the Lotus Emira as a package, and also the price that it represents in the market. Again, it's not just about one side of the car being great. The suspension is freaking amazing. I can't rave about it anymore. It's so competent, yet it's so fun, and yet it also delivers a comfort that you would not expect. It sort of feels like jumping into a Camry from my Spyder to the Emira. But the package itself is really just doesn't hit the mark for me. The engine, it's great, good, but it's like so far off from how excellent the chassis is. I wish that they have a bit more drama with the sound and maybe a bit more drama with the delivery. I know that with more torque being kicked out, it does upset the car faster, and I get it, but I just wish that there is a bit more drama with the engine sound. Yeah, instead of that high-pitched whine. Which now comes to another thing that I don't quite like about the Lotus, is that on a highway road, you do, when you're trying to overtake, trying to put a little bit more revs just to, even at the overdrive gear, it does whine a little bit, and I think after 3-4 hours, it does get a bit annoying. Now the big other but is the price of the car. At 1.1 plus million ringgit, I can't help but to compare it with the 718 Cayman GT4 or even the Spyder, the convertible version. Without going into too much technical details, I'm going to summarize the comparison. I think the Lotus Emira, in all aspects objectively, is a better car. Sure, the engine is not as powerful, say, as the Cayman 718 GT4, which is 20 horsepower odd difference, but its handling is just so superb and the gear ratios are proper shot. Like, unlike the second long gear on the Porsche, it would just really, eat up the Porsche on track, alright, in terms of performance. But then again, the Porsche provides something that the Lotus doesn't have. It's the full package. That NA sound, that enough space that you can travel with, so the Porsche for me has a more wholesome package, and I think it's enough to feed the thirst of a spirited driver. But then again, it misses out something. The Lotus has something that that Porsche doesn't have. Porsche, you drive it with a grit on your face, and the Lotus, you can drive it with a big fat smile on your face, and I think that's really what summarizes the two different driving experiences. But if anything, Lotus did a fantastic job and just being world class at what they do. The ride, the handling, they just really double down on it. And despite being a small manufacturer, they really create a strong argument against a big company like Porsche, right? But just for me personally, it's not enough to win my heart. But anyone who owns it will be really, really lucky. Alright, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Ciao.